welcome back to the Titan Talk podcast. We're back, episode 19. We're going to go over free agency, what happened all last week. We're going to go over the new signings that happened earlier this week, and also, obviously, the new uniforms, reveal, logo, everything that happened in the past week. And, we're going to get started talking about free agency. Getting started with the free agency signings that's happened over the past few week and 2 weeks, we got first wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, the Titans getting signed. What's your thoughts on Robinson?
I like him. Great slot wide receiver. Probably my favorite free agent signing so far. I think he is a weapon, and I'm glad the Titans have him to use.
I am thrilled with this signing. I think it's a good target for Cam Ward. We didn't really have that last year of Calvin Ridley not catching the ball that much. I think over 50% of the passes that was targeted his way ended up being dropped. But, glad we have a good receiver. Another top signing here, we got John Franklin Myers from the defensive line for the Tennessee Titans. I think this is a really good one as well. It's going to pair up to make a really good defensive line for the Titans this season.
I absolutely agree. He's one of the most underrated defensive tackles in the league. I know it's not a really position of need for the Titans. When you can get a guy like that who wants to play for Tennessee, you got to go get him.
Yeah, we also got a couple of corners here that we signed, both kind of the same skill set here. We got Alontae Taylor and Cordell Flott. Both these guys are really good. It's going to add to that cornerback room that we desperately needed, and I think they filled a need here with both these guys.
Cordell Flott, I'm really excited we get him. I think he's a good young guy. Alontae Taylor, he's sort of kind of been dusty, especially that last season that he played for New Orleans. So hopefully he's able to bounce back and provide some meaningful minutes for the team.
Yeah, next we got, I think the rest here, pretty much depth signings beside Daniel Bellinger. Tight end, he's most likely going to be swapping out a lot with Gunnar Helm, the second-year tight end out of Texas. What's your thoughts on Bellinger?
I think, once again, it's a New York Giant coming straight out of that offense, which there's a lot of Giants and Jets, as people know. But I think it's a good signing. He gives me able to play some meaningful minutes. I'm excited that he is here. I will say, looking back at Chigakonko's contract he's gotten, I kind of regret not signing him back. But I don't know how much Chigakonko wanted to be here in Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that either. I think he was extremely better than Bellinger. I think Bellinger, I know he got a big contract here, but I'm not sure if he deserved it. I guess we're going to have to wait and see on that. But another issue that the Titans have that hopefully they filled here was center. They signed Austin Schlottman from the New York Giants. This one's all right, I guess. I don't think he's a starting caliber center yet. What's your thoughts on Schlottman?
We'll see what he can do. I mean, honestly, he's going to prove a lot. If we can get a guy in the draft, we can get a guy in free agency and other. I don't just want him to be shooting into the starting job. I want him to prove himself. I guess he's one of those guys that you really don't know what you got until the preseason at least.
Yeah, a couple other guys. These are kind of depth signings. Mitchell Trubisky, backup quarterback, cornerback Josh Williams, Cordell Volson, offensive guard, Jordan Elliott, defensive tackle, Jacob Martin, linebacker. Here's a very interesting one. We got a new punter here in Tommy Townsend. Really good punter in my opinion. What's your thoughts on Tommy?
I think he is also a pretty good punter. I'm excited to see him. Punting last season, Johnny Hecker was a very big disappointment, if I'm going to be honest. He was not exactly what you thought he was going to be in Tennessee. So I'm excited to see that we have a different punter, a young punter. He's young, but he's got experience. So I'm excited to see him and see what he can do.
I am too. I think he's a really good punter. Next guy we hear, it's a kicker returning for the Titans, Joey Sly. I really liked him last season. I'm excited what he can bring back here next year. It looks like he had over 80% of his field goal attempts were good last year. I'm thrilled with this signing.
Joey Sly's a dog. He was always going to be welcomed in Nashville. Bring him back one more year.
The next three signings here are pretty much all depth signings like we talked about earlier. It's Bryce Oliver, wide receiver, defensive end Malik Herring, and tight end Kylan Granson. For Granson here, he played with the Eagles last year. I've been saying this. I think I would have rather us pursue another Eagles tight end that was available in free agency. Still is to this point. Maybe we'll sign him. I doubt it at this point, but I really want Dallas Goedert on this team.
I don't think we'll sign him. I think the Titans have got their tight ends, all they're going to get for this season. But he's a depth piece. I do agree. I think we left a little more to be desired in the tight end market, but I doubt he's going to be catching too many targets from Cam Ward, but I'm sure he will definitely be in the rotation as a blocking tight end.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this new team next season and preseason. I'm excited to see what all these guys bring to the table. One thing that I think a lot of people is concerned about, that I'm extremely concerned about, is the center. We talked about it a little bit earlier. We cut Lloyd Cushenberry, but we really did not have an answer there for center. What's your thoughts on center?
Well, the Titans have always been in a situation where it seems like they got 4 good linemen and 1 just absolutely horrendous one. And if they're going to have 1 horrendous one, it is the center, which one you want to have that's not good. Because here's the thing. The center has help from both sides, unlike just about every other position in the offensive line. See, the guards don't have help. They have help from the tackles, but they don't have help from the center because the center's got to worry on snapping the ball and immediately falling back. So if there is a position that you want to be weaker on, if you have to be, it would be center in my opinion. So I hope the Titans can get by this. We got good guards, especially Skoronski helping him on his left side. I think he should be okay.
Another thing I just kind of realized as we was talking about it is the right guard position. That's still a need that we need filled. Yeah, we signed Cordell Volson from the Giants, but I wouldn't mind seeing us re-sign Kevin Zeitler back on this team.
Zeitler's a little old, but I guess I wouldn't hate it.
Because, I mean, he's proven to be like a starting position for a team in the NFL. I'm not too familiar on this Volson guy from the Giants, but...
Well, I'm not familiar on Volson either, but I don't think Zeitler... I mean, Zeitler's a bad offensive lineman on a bad offensive line. That's the way...
So?
That's how I see Zeitler. He's a bad offensive lineman on a bad offensive line. I don't see him as a guy who makes your offensive line great or good or improves them really at all.
I can see
You just say, look, you got Kevin Zeitler on your offensive line, oh, you're not going to have a good offensive line this year.
I can see where you're coming from. He is kind of aging there. I know another guy it's kind of glanced over, not talked about much. It's a guard that is currently on this team in Jackson Slater, lineman we signed in the draft last year.
Well, we'll see. I also would not be surprised at all if the Titans try and get an offensive lineman in the 2nd or 3rd round of the draft to see if we can come here and get a rookie to start. I think that might be the best option.
Another thing to keep an eye out for the next week, maybe even a couple weeks here, is the Titans being really interested in, rumoredly, in Juwan Jennings, receiver from the 49ers. Also, a lot of other good talent still available in free agency that we're going to have to keep an eye on in the coming weeks.
Well, the Titans restructured Calvin Ridley's contract to give him another year to play in Tennessee. So now I don't really think that Juwan Jennings is the biggest necessity to come here. But if Juwan Jennings wants to come here, I know you're not a big Juwan Jennings fan, but if he wants to come here and he wants to play, he's a good receiver. I'm okay with it.
He is a good receiver, but the thing that I think a lot of people have an issue with is his personality and what he brings to the team. Because this whole rebrand for the Titans, it's all been about character, building a structure, building a foundation for this team going forward. And I don't think that's especially if you trade Jarvis Brownlee Jr. just because of his personality. I don't think Juwan Jennings is a guy you want to bring in. I think since they are trading and getting rid of people just based off of personalities, I don't think this is a guy you need to bring to your team.
Well, I think those are 2 different personalities that you saw. I think you saw T'Vondre Sweat traded because he was lazy. I think you saw Jarvis Brownlee traded because he was a problem and caused problem with his teammates. I don't necessarily... Juwan Jennings is a diva. You're right. He's a diva. Most wide receivers are divas. A.J. Brown was a diva. Stuff like that.
Still
so here's the thing. As long as he's not toxic to the team, if he's toxic to everybody else, if he's a horrible personality, if he's not fun to be around for the interviewers and the press, I don't care. As long as he plays good football and Cam Ward has good receivers to play. I don't want Cam Ward. He was throwing to Van Jefferson last year and Xavier Restrepo. I don't want him to be throwing to those kind of no-name guys this year. I want him to have good receivers and good targets always available on the field. And I think if you can get DK, A.O. Manor, Juwan Jennings, Calvin Ridley, and Wan'Dale Robinson, that's a great 5 of wide receivers that I'm happy to trot out.
There is one thing that I've noticed about this wide receiver room. Like you've mentioned, we just restructured Calvin Ridley's deal. That's one thing to bring up here, too, that we're going to talk about. we restructured his deal. He took less money to stay with this team. He is now making less, and apparently this new restructure only goes to the end of this season. I'm a huge fan of that move. I didn't think that we needed to keep Calvin Ridley on the same contract he has been on based off of his performance from last season. But I want to mention one thing before we get to opinions on the restructure. The thing about the wide receiver room that scares me is we have two guys that are a really solid wide receiver too, and Wan'Dale Robinson and Calvin Ridley. And we have plenty of guys that are up for contention to be a good wide receiver too in the future, in Alec Iamaner and Chimere Dike. The one thing that this team is missing is a wide receiver one caliber receiver. We don't have that guy that solidifies being a wide receiver one on a team yet. Hopefully we can get a guy in the draft that can fill that void, but I don't think we have a guy currently that is a wide receiver one on this team.
Well, I think there's a big difference in wide receiver one and all right, give me a list of who's a wide receiver one.
In the whole league?
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
I don't think we're getting a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua. I don't think we're getting any one of those guys in the draft. I don't think there is one of those guys in the draft. I think after that elite echelon of maybe the top 6, 7 wide receivers in the league, I think everything else after that is kind of where Calvin Ridley and company can play in and be those top wide receivers. I mean, do you consider Ladd McConkey a wide receiver one?
No.
See, I think that's right around the level that Calvin Ridley, his ceiling is. I think that's right around the ceiling of Wan'Dale Robinson, and I think Ladd McConkey is it. All right, who do you consider a wide receiver one that's not one of these generational star talents?
Marvin Harrison Jr., there's him. Another guy that's really underrated, especially after last season, is Teteroa McMillan. I really like him.
All right, I can give you Teteroa McMillan. Marvin Harrison Jr., he's really not that good, or at least has performed from what his value should have been. What was he drafted, number 4 by the Cardinals? Mm-hmm. He's not performed like a top 4-round draft pick. Teteroa McMillan was great, but then again, he's not a Justin Jefferson or someone like that. So I think when you say that we're a team filled with number 2 wide receivers, it's kind of hard to say that none of these guys are wide receivers number 1 whenever there's only 6 or 7 wide receiver ones in the league.
Yeah, there's another guy. Just thought of it. Happened earlier today. Jalen Waddle from the Dolphins, or now the Broncos. The Broncos trading their first-round pick for Waddle and some other picks. Yeah, Waddle's another guy comes to mind.
Well, Jalen Waddle performs good whenever Tyreek Hill's on the field. But when Tyreek Hill's not on the field, he has good games and stuff like that, but he's nowhere near as consistent because Tyreek Hill takes up all the attention. So that's whenever you say these guys are – it's the same thing that happened with Brandon Ayuk. Deebo Samuel in San Francisco took up all the attention, which allowed Brandon Ayuk to play with the worst corners on him, play a lot of one-on-ones, stretch down the field. So he benefited a lot because Deebo Samuel was getting double covered because the best players were on Deebo Samuel. Well, whenever the 49ers didn't have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk looked horrible. And I think that's what you got to say. You got to find these guys who can still be good no matter what. And if we have 3 good wide receiver 2s, that is a great receiving core.
I don't disagree with you there, but just based off of what I heard, it sounded like you're leaning towards Tyreek Hill is still a good receiver. Would you mind us bringing him in to fill that void?
If we can get him really cheap, yeah, but no, not really. I think he's older than he's ever been before, which is, and I don't want to test him on coming off the injury. I don't want to wake up and see 30-whatever-year-old Tyreek Hill just signed a contract with the Tennessee Titans. Titans always get old, washed-up wide receivers, and we haven't really gotten one this year, so I really don't want to test that water and get an old, washed-up wide receiver. But if we can get him for cheap, absolutely, but still, I like our receiving core, and if we can add Juwan Jennings to it tonight, I disagree with you fully. I think that is just about perfect wide receiver core going in from what we had last year. I mean, I don't think. Here's the thing. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that we can have a Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. The Titans just are not going to be able to get that. But if we can get these guys like Wan'Dale Robinson, Calvin Ridley, Alec Iamaner, Chimere Dike, if we can get Juwan Jennings to come to the Titans, these are guys who Cam Ward, every single one of them can make a play at any given moment on the football field, and that's exactly what we need. Because think about it, last year, who did we have? Once Calvin Ridley went down, it was Chamari DK. A.O. Manor really did not look good toward the end of the season. So Cam Ward has one or two guys that you can throw to that are competent and can catch a football consistently.
Yeah, that's the question to be answered later on this season, to see how the receiving core, how they perform. I'm really excited to see what the preseason brings for these guys in the receiving core. Like you mentioned, DK and A.M. Manor. I'm really excited to see what they can do in the preseason this year, based off of their rookie year and what's still yet to come in OTAs and getting ready for the preseason this year. One thing I do want to mention before we get into the rebrand and new uniforms is cornerback L'Jarius Sneed getting cut from the Tennessee Titans. I know a lot of people are thrilled about that. I'm happy with this move. What's your thoughts on getting rid of Sneed?
He wasn't good. I mean, I know people don't like me to sit here and say, oh, this guy's in the NFL and he's not good. He's not good. He's not good. He's not good enough to be paid what he was paid, and he was a plague from just my perspective. I mean, the way he trash-talked Nico Collins and proceeded to give up, third and forever on him, that was, I think, the final nail in his coffin in Tennessee. He was injured more games than he played. Yeah, I'm fine with cutting him.
What's really funny about this, now we're going to move into the new uniforms.
I want to mention one more thing.
Okay.
Tony Pollard. There's been a lot of conversation and stuff for Tony Pollard. I want to put myself out in the island, and I want to say I don't want Jeremiah Love at where the Titans are drafting. I do not want to take him right there. I want to keep Tony Pollard because he was one of the top 10 running backs in the league last year. Look at the statistics, Nate. He was a top 10 running back in the league last year. He was good. He was serviceable. He was what a running back needed to be. If he can get a healthy Tajay Spears to back him up the whole entire season, I'm 100% fine with taking Tony Pollard. And I think that is becoming less and less of a popular opinion among Titans fans.
I don't completely disagree with you there. I know I'm really pro Jeremiah Love in this draft. The thing about I agree with you. Tony Pollard is still a good running back in this league, and Tajay Spears is a phenomenal running back too in this league. The one thing that I want to say before we get into the uniforms about this whole drafting Jeremiah Love thing is that I think that's one of the guys you cannot miss out in getting, like guys Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson. You know, those guys are a really good running back for their team and a generational talent at that. And I think if you bring Jeremiah Love to this team, that's a move that you're going to look back on and really be glad that the Titans picked him.
I disagree. I think the safe pick is still Ruben Bain. I think people have looked at him, and because it's so obvious, they don't want to take him. They want to go for someone different, someone explosive, a skill position, stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, Jeremiah Love is good. But is Jeremiah Love as good as Bijan Robinson or Jahmyr Gibbs?
I think he could be.
I don't think so. And those guys weren't even taken top 4. I think reaching on top 4 for a running back is just sort of ridiculous. I don't want him. I really want Ruben Bain.
That's where I'm going to disagree with you. I mean, I really don't want Ruben Bain, honestly. If we're picking edge, I would much rather have David Bailey from Texas Tech. We are going to get into this later on in this episode about the draft position, but I'm going to real quick get into the new uniforms, logo, rebrand, everything along that. So I love it. I really like the new logo and uniforms. At first, wasn't a really big fan of it, but once it came out and once you started to see the new jerseys and see how it looks on uniforms and stuff like that, I really like it. And I think, honestly, we have some of the best uniforms in the NFL.
I do like the uniforms. The logo I still don't like. The logo I still would rather have the flames. I think they could add more of it. I don't like oversimplifying things for the sake of efficiency and all this, and making things look plainer in this modern era of art and stuff like that. I don't like that. I like the old logo better than the new logo. That's just my personal preference. But like you said, the uniforms, I do love the uniforms. I would like to see a red alternate. That's the only thing I was really hoping that they would say that they didn't say. But everything else was great. It's a new era in Tennessee. It's new uniforms. The uniforms look good. I love the color patterns on the uniforms. I think the font looks good. I'm not a big font guy. It really doesn't matter to me which font or whether they say Titans or Tennessee that really didn't matter to me. I like the white helmets. The helmets are probably my favorite part of this logo, is that clean white helmet with a white face mask. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it out there on the field, and especially the new field design. I don't know if you've seen it. I'll pop it up on the screen here. It's now you can see it, the new field design. I'm really a big fan of this. I've been wanting for years the Titans to have a fully painted end zone. I think that looks really good on a field. What's your thoughts on the field design?
Looks good. I'm excited. I just love the baby powder blue color the Titans are coming out with. I really do love it. I think these babies will look good under the lights in some primetime games, which I really hope we get some primetime games this season. But no, the uniform reveal, I absolutely love. The logo, I'm still not sold on it. The uniforms, wonderful.
Yeah, like you mentioned up the primetime games, I think it's all but confirmed we're going to get at least one home primetime game, because with the rivalry uniforms, if you go back and look, every single time one of the teams used their rivalry uniforms, they were in a primetime game. So, and especially with us getting the dark blue uniforms, that's mostly considered a home uniform, so we're probably going to get dark blue rivalries, and that most likely will be a home primetime game. One thing I'm just noticing now, zoom in also on the picture here, you noticed how people were kind of scared they might get rid of Ring of Fire and stuff like that. One thing I'm noticing in this rendering, you can see a Ring of Fire around the band stage where the trumpets are going to be played. So it pretty much confirms that Ring of Fire is not going to go anywhere, which I'm thrilled about.
I love Ring of Fire. I think that was never a question at all, because I think they're going to name the big oval Jumbotron thingy like they got in the Rams Stadium. I think they're going to name that the Ring of Fire. So I am excited. Here's what I'll say about the uniforms and the logos. If the Titans don't win games, they're going to be micro looked at. What are we doing? Changing a new era to win 4 games, this, that, and the other. It's going to be a disaster. If the Titans go to the playoffs, make a wild card, Cam Ward takes an absolute generational second step, people are going to say, oh my gosh, what a great logo, the best uniforms ever, and stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of this just matters on if we win football games or not. Like, that's going to decide how good I think it looks personally.
Yeah.
If we win 10 games and we sneak into the wild card and stuff like that, best logo in the NFL. If we win 4 games and we're sitting here next year at the same time talking about who we want to draft in the 2027 NFL draft, we shouldn't have ever changed the logo. We're going to say, well, we shouldn't have traded A.J. Brown, so on and such forth. So a lot of this just depends on the results.
There is one thing that I've noticed about the new logo. I've noticed that pretty much every single media outlet has not updated the Titans logo and colors on any of their websites. If you look at ESPN right now, it's still the old flame logo. And if you look at like all the graphics that Fox, NFL, and all them are posting on Instagram, they're still using the flame logo for rankings and all of that. I think that's just kind of funny, and more leans into how the outlets kind of look down upon the Titans in that sense.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're going to be quick to change the Titans logo at all. I was surprised when I walked in to record today. Nate's already got a new freaking shirt with a new logo instantly. That was insane to me.
I like it. I mean, I went to the store downtown. A lot of people don't know this, so y'all should check it out if you want to get the new gear. They got all the new uniforms, all the new shirts. They got everything in the Titan store beside Nissan Stadium. And also, if you're a fan of the old gear more, they got all old gear, all old shirts, all old jerseys, all 60% off there. So you can get a really good deal there. Went there and got a couple of things, but yeah, now we're going to get into the draft.
One more thing about uniforms, all right? So let's close our eyes and let's imagine we're 5 years down the line. What throwback uniforms, assuming we still can't use the Oilers because of Cam Ward, what throwback uniforms do you want to use?
For our throwbacks?
Yeah.
The 2018 ones.
2018 ones? See, I disagree. I think the 2018 ones are the worst uniforms that the Titans have ever fielded. I think we should go back to like the 2017 to like 1999 uniforms. Those are the ones that I want to see as our throwback uniforms. But I'm not going to lie, these have, just from looking at them, these have an outside chance of being my favorite, even above those.
Even above the Oilers?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're kind of
similar to the Oilers. They're a knockoff Oilers, but I like them a lot, honestly.
I've loved seeing all the Texans fans complain online about them. It's just funny seeing how every single one of them still think they own the Oilers. They do not.
All right, Amy Adams.
I'm just not going to go
Relax
over this
over there.
more, but they do not own the Oilers. It's the Titans. If you look back at history, we were the Tennessee Oilers, but yeah, y'all do not own the Oilers' history. Now, since we are on the topic of new uniforms and logo, we're going to get into y'all's comments on the discussion post this week. We're going to talk about y'all's thoughts. First up, we have Matt here. He said a bunch of fire emojis and said, "We just need a red face mask." I wouldn't hate that. It's very Oilers-esque, but I really like the two white combo.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with Matt here. I like the white. I like white on white a lot. I think it's the best color combinations you can have for a helmet.
Next up here, our last Instagram comment here. If you want to comment and be on the discussion post next week, you can follow our Instagram account. We have B96. He said the bland logo, awesome uniforms. Wish they kept the flame and the Titan feel. Hoped they would use the flame on the helmet. The color really is what makes the new uniforms. I hope they do something special for the rivalries. I agree. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm kind of getting your opinions on there. But yeah, I don't disagree with you there.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I had to copy and paste the comment. It would be that right there. Smart man.
Next up here, we're going to get into our X comments here. If you want to comment on X, you can do that on our profile every week. First here we have James Ryan. He said perfection. I agree. I think these uniforms were amazing.
I also think the uniforms are wonderful. The reveal was exciting. I'm happy with everything about the Titans' new uniforms.
Next up here we have Quinn Torrance. He said this whole rebrand exceeded my expectations. I love the new uniforms. Yeah, I agree there. Next we have Ed here. He says, I like the jerseys, but the logo itself has grown on me by the day. I saw the new logo on the front of the Titans practice facility and see why the rebranding was necessary, even though I like the flame, though.
I once again think the logo is just bland. I hate companies and corporations that just bland down their logo, take color out of it, take things out of it and stuff like that just to make it easier to put on a shirt or a blanket or so on and such forth. So I will disagree with that. The logo is not growing on me at all. But I do like the rebrand, and I also agree that a rebrand of some sort was necessary. I don't necessarily agree with the new logo, but I do agree that new uniforms, new culture was necessary for the Titans.
I'm going to agree with Ed here. I really like, I think the logo has grown on me by the day as well. At first, if you asked me the first day that it got leaked, I would say I absolutely hate this logo. I don't think it looks good, but every day it has grown on me. I think the circle looks good for a logo, and I'm a fan of it. Next comment we have here is Code Orange. He says, I love them, feels old and new at the same time. That's a really good take there. It does kind of bring the Oilers feel back into it, and it's very new at the same time as well.
It really does. That is the best way I've heard it described so far. It feels old and new in the same way, in a positive way. I like that comment, and I'll agree.
Next up here we have a Honey Badger. They say clean, simple, and something that will still look incredible for years to come. I agree with you.
I don't think it's clean and simple. I hate those describing words on new uniform and stuff like that. Just simple everything down, make it as clean looking as possible, as plain looking as possible. I don't think this is clean and plain. I think those are positives that you're using to describe the uniforms, but I don't think those are the actual description of what I would say those uniforms are. I don't think they're clean or simple or stuff like that. I think they're vibrant. I think they're a little over the top, and I like them because of that.
Yeah, next comment we have here is from Danomite. He says rad. Next up here we have another guy saying, I came in with low expectations, but I was thrilled to see how they turned out. The blue is spectacular with the white and red accents. Love the guitar strings. Only thing I don't care for as much is the armpit tri-star. What do you think? For the armpit tri-star, it's kind of going to be hidden because, you know, their arms are going to be down by their side, but I think it could have gone without it. To be honest, I think the TriStar could have been somewhere else.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a TriStar on the armpit, so makes no difference to me, I guess.
Next up here, we have Titan GSG. He says, absolutely gorgeous. And then our last comment here from TriStar Shield. He says, love everything about it. This is a much-needed rebrand. I hope the hype extends over the rest of the season. Fans are hyped. I agree. The fan base looks like a completely different fan base from the end of the season once this rebrand happened. I like seeing all the comments. I like seeing all the people that's liking the Titans and what they have prepared for this upcoming season.
I once again agree. I think this is an exciting time. A lot of new changes, and hopefully this is the dawning of a new era. But once again, with all the noise of the rebrand, the logos, the jerseys, everything else, it's sort of got to be silenced. Titans got to focus on winning football games, right? Cam Ward's got to focus on improving and going into his second year. One thing that I think, looking back at Cam Ward's season, I know we're supposed to be talking about uniforms and stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. Looking at Cam Ward's last season, one of the most impressive things, he made tons of great throws, extending the pocket, wonderful things. He made some bad fumble turnovers, made a couple of bad reads, stuff like that. He should have ran more, a lot of people were saying, and I do agree with that. I don't want to see him get injured, though. But one thing I loved about Cam Ward last season was the streak that he went on where he didn't throw an interception. I think that's really big for a rookie quarterback. Man, I'm just so excited to see Cam Ward come back and play next year.
I think that's the entire Titans fan base. I was I forgot who I told earlier, but honestly, I think Cam Ward could be a top 5 quarterback in the league next year if he takes a big step, because I think he has the talent to possibly be the best quarterback in the NFL for a season, possibly the future. I think he has the talent, and if the Titans make the right moves and if he makes the right steps forward, I think you could be looking at a future Titans all-time legend here.
I also think, like last season, toward the beginning and middle of last season, we're like, oh my gosh, Titans are screwed. We're in the hardest division ever. I mean, what happened to the AFC South? Everyone's so great. I think we may have overreacted. I think the AFC South is looking a lot better for the Titans this year than what we were thinking that it was going to be halfway through the season last year. I think the Texans are in a bad spot. I think they're in one of the worst spots in the NFL as far as decline goes. I think the Colts are also not in a good spot. I think they hit their wonderful ceiling last year, but don't forget, the Colts started sucking with Daniel Jones healthy. They were losing while he was still healthy. So I think the Colts are down, and the Jags, who you would say are the best team in the division, they are, but they're not going to be better than they were last year.
They didn't really make that many moves if you look at free agency and all that. And one thing I do want to mention before we move on to the draft stuff, Daniel Jones did get paid a lot.
And I'm fine with that.
And I am too. I'm thrilled to see them make that move. And the funny thing about it is that he's going to get another contract in 2 years because this was just a 2-year contract. So he's going to get even more money if they want to bring him back. I hope they do. Hope they want to bring him back. I'm fine with the Colts' decline.
They paid Alec Pierce ridiculous money, too.
Yeah, it was over $100 million.
Yeah, I mean, golly. Like, I wanted Alec Pierce and the Titans whenever they said he was a free agent. But, God, am I missing something here? Is Alec Pierce really, like, that good?
I don't believe so. I think I would have liked him to come to the Titans, but not over $100 million.
Golly.
That's kind of ridiculous. But now we're going to get into the draft stuff and talk about our picks for the 2026 NFL Draft. But now we're going to get into the NFL Draft. I know Luke said he wants Bain. I say I want Love, but...
Well, I don't necessarily want Bain. I think Bain's going to be the best option available. I think there's a chance that the Jets pass up on David Bailey. And I'm absolutely fine with drafting David Bailey. I think there's a chance that the Jets pass up on Orville Reese. I will be absolutely fine, or Arvell Reese. I would be absolutely fine with drafting him. But if Reuben Bain's there, he's the obvious pick, but I think he's a bona fide guy who's going to come in and start and be great. I think no matter what, we have to go defense edge. No matter what. I think that is what we have to do. I don't think we need to go I think Jeremiah Love is a good player. I think he's a good running back. I think he's the best running back in the draft, but I don't think we necessarily need him, and I don't think he's good enough to just reach on the guy I don't think he has a generational talent that deserves reaching up, getting him.
I don't think there is a pick you can make that I would be disappointed in. I guess Reuben Bain would be the one I'm least thrilled about, but I still would like the pick. It would be a good pick. I mean, I think there's other ways you could go about it, but I wouldn't be disappointed. The one guy I really want is Jeremiah Love. I think he's proven to be a really good running back, and my pick is Jeremiah Love for this draft.
What about Caden Proctor, offensive tackle from Alabama? Would you be disappointed if we got him?
Round 1, pick 4.
Yeah.
I would be absolutely disappointed with that pick. I would hate it, and I would be very vocal on why that is a mistake picking at number 4.
You think there's a chance we take a tackle?
I think a tackle, no. A guard, yes, if there's a guy that's that.
I don't know if there's a guard. I'm looking here at mock drafts and stuff. I don't know if there's a guard that you're going to take in the top 10. Honestly,
I really don't want the Miami tackle. I mean, yeah, he's played with Cam, but we have our tackles. We have Skronsky and we have.
Well, Skronsky's your guard. Latham's.
Yeah. I don't know what else.
Latham's a tackle.
We got more, but.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with rocking him this year.
Fair enough. I would be too. I'm fine with that. I don't want to take a.
It's not going to be great.
I don't want to take a tackle or a guard. I want to take. I think the only position that I'm going to be happy if we take is edge.
I wouldn't be disappointed. Would you be mad if we went running back and got Jeremiah Love?
Yeah.
You'd be mad?
Yeah, I would. Because what's the point in it? If we're going to keep Tony Pollard and we're going to keep Tajay Spears, we don't need Jeremiah Love. And he's not as generational of a talent as, I think, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, guys like that. I just don't see that. I don't think that's the biggest need for the Titans. I don't think we need to just go for the best skill position in the draft. We need to draft the needs that we have to have, and I think that is edge rusher.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad take there, but it's going to wrap up this episode of the Titan Talk podcast. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back next week for episode 20. We'll be talking about any news that comes out, or we'll have something planned. Not sure on what that is yet. We got the draft coming up in about a month from now. We'll be recapping the draft here before too long. We'll be getting more heavily into mock drafts and who we think is going to be available in the second and third round that we would like to be picked up. But thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.